If you are planning a trip to Bali in the near future and wanting to get a sense of how inexpensive the island truly is, then this video is for you. I did a 4-day, 3-night solo trip to Bali last year and spent a whopping $687 on everything, including my hotel, food, drinks, transportation on the island, and any wellness and miscellaneous stuff that I wanted to do. So let's break down what this really looked like. If you're new here, hi, my name is Brianne, and I am taking you through all of my 2025 travels with the hopes of you feeling as though doing this international travel experience is truly attainable for you, regardless of what your budget is. So Bali, Bali, Bali. I was there for, I will say, a full 9 days in total, but I spent the first 5 days with my business coach focusing on a content series that I was creating. And as my treat to myself, knowing that I would actually accomplish what I set out to do, I tacked on an extra 4 days for just gallivanting and dilly-dallying through the island. So let's break down these numbers. The first thing and the most expensive, interestingly enough, was actually food and drinks. This came up to $242, and I will add that the majority of, about half of that was actually spent at El Cabron, which was the day party venue that I had shared about in my previous video. And the reality was with that, you're not just paying for the food, you're also paying for the experience. They had a live violinist, they had a live, let's go with saxophone. Tuba. It wasn't as big as a tuba, but they had a live band that was essentially playing, and they had a live DJ, and you're seeing the sunset, you're seeing like all of this, their smoke machines, the music. I will have a video of that in the end of week vlog, but just an incredible experience. So that was food and drink, and that was definitely the biggest, the most that I spent on a meal. Most of my meals were less than $10. Some of them were 10 to 20 at the restaurant, but food super inexpensive out there for the most part. Next expensive thing was actually my hotel. So with the hotel, I did stay 3 nights at the Hotel Indigo in Seminyak. And if I'm honest, I actually wanted to stay in Uluwatu, but what was more important to me was spending as little money as possible on accommodations. And that meant that for the intercontinental hotels that I am loyal to and that I enjoy the most, I needed to pivot that plan, and the closest to Uluwatu, where there was a 5-star hotel, was Seminyak. The hotel was incredible. Again, it is 5 stars, beautiful, multiple pools right off the beach, amazing food, amazing amenities. The hotel room itself was just spectacular. So to only spend $131 on that was a steal. I ended up booking that through my Chase travel portal. So I had, I actually have it written down. I had 48,341 points. So I was able to use that towards what was originally a $735 booking. So what I love about Chase is that it shows you how much the hotel would have cost, and then it'll give you the breakdown of like, this is the points that you applied, and then I only had to pay $131 for taxes and fees and all that, which honestly for 3 nights at a 5-star hotel, I will take it. So that was my second largest expense. Now my next largest expense was another splurge. I decided that before I went back home, I wanted to do some time at the spa. So Bali is super, super inexpensive spas when it comes to, your massages, facials, all of that. So I ended up doing a 3-hour session. I did one 90-minute massage. It was the deep healing massage, I think it was, or deep muscle massage, whatever. They were in there, like thoroughly getting into all the knots. It was not one of the massages where you like, why y'all just rubbing me? Like, put in that work. and did. So that was, I'm just realizing I did not put my earrings on. So let's do that right now, shall we? These are really cutesy. Don't remember where they're from. But yes, so they did a 90-minute deep muscle healing massage. Amazing. And then what was cool, I got to stay in the same exact room. So I didn't have to move when they pivoted to the facial. So I also did a 90-minute anti-aging diamond microdermabrasion is what they called it. I went to this spa called Sundari, and it was in Seminyak, which was super convenient. So I was on the way to my flight and ended up bringing all my luggage and getting the massage first and then the facial, 3 hours for only $123. And that was actually one of the pricier spas that I saw, but I really was just in the headspace of treating myself after going through one of the hardest but most rewarding business coaching experiences I've ever had. So that was that, and I regret nothing. Next up, when it comes to most expensive, I forgot to add one because my hair appointment. When I first landed in Bali, let me add this caveat really quick. When I first landed in Bali, I got to my room, and the next morning I decided to go get my hair done. Now, the last time I had gotten my hair done with boho, so I did boho knotless. The last time I got my boho knotless braids done for my birthday back in 2024, that came up to a $600 expense, including the hair, including, paying the hairstylist and then tip. Now, when I was doing research on getting my hair done for Bali, I just could not fade paying that much again. So I did a ton of research online. There's a boutique called Mox Salon, and it's actually full of Indonesian women who got that grip. They really are in there, 2 to 3 on your head at any time. I was in and out in 4 hours, and including hair, that came up to $150. Where they do that at here? In and out in 4 hours, and again, it was a great experience. They definitely ensured that they got that hair around your your own hair. How do I say that? They made sure to get the braiding hair around your own hair, and then that did include the boho hair as well. So that was a steal, amazing experience, well worth the splurge again. And I say splurge because these numbers are way bigger than what you're spending here and there when you're on the island, but it probably doesn't feel like a splurge with the US hair braiding prices. And we'll leave that there. All right, next up is Grab. So getting around the island, I use Grab, and except for, excuse me, I'm parched. With the exception of my trips where I had luggage, so the airport, I was using the motorcycle selection when it comes to the mode of transportation on Grab. It's an experience you have to do. I don't think I would necessarily ride a motorcycle here in the US, but every time I'm in Asia, that is my go-to. So I rode around the island on Grab 9 times in the 4 days that I was there. And the total for what I spent on Grab was $38. Now, if you're in the US, that is typically, depending on how close you are to the airport, that could easily be one ride to the airport. But most of the rides that I took on Grab were less than $5. So going from the east side of the island to the west side of the island, the day I went from Nusa Dua to Seminyak and back, that was about $5 each way. The airport ride was the most expensive and longest, and the one I took on a car, which was about $13. So again, so affordable just to be able to frolic and go wherever your heart desires across the island. Next thing was miscellaneous. So this was my beach chairs. Yesterday I spoke about how, I'm getting my days mixed up, but one of them days I talked about how I went to Nusa Dua and wanted to just enjoy a bit more time in a calmer beach. And there they had these beach chairs, this beach chair, towel, and umbrella for $3 total. So when we add all of this up, the $242 for my food and drink, the $150 for my hair appointment, the $131 for the taxes and fees for the hotel, $123 for my spa day where I did the 90-minute facial and 90-minute massage, $38 for my transportation on the island, $3 for my, I had to add it in there, but the $3 for the chairs, umbrella, and towel. That comes up to $687 for my 4-day, 3-night solo trip in Bali. And it's just, I can't wait to go back again. It's just the level of like royalty that you feel, but also just access to anything that you want to do while out there, whether it's the beauty services, whether it's adventure, whether it's relaxation, whether it's, 5-star resorts. Like, the world is your oyster out there. I will add, because I do think this is important for just transparency's sake, my flight from Raleigh to Bali did cost $1,964, so $1,964. Getting to Bali from Raleigh is quite expensive. I know getting there from other parts of the country, like I'm sure LAX, Seattle, are probably a lot cheaper because that's typically where I have layovers. But yeah, it is a pretty penny, and I did upgrade to Comfort Plus in my booking because it's a long flight. I had a layover in Seoul, so I did layover in Seattle and then layover in Seoul and then got to Bali. So you do have a chance to stretch, and I always get an aisle seat because I don't like having to ask for permission to get up and stretch. I also have a very tiny bladder and do not like permission asking to go to the bathroom. So yeah, that helps a lot on the trip there. But once you get on the island, like beautiful villas, beautiful hotels, and just beautiful people, beautiful food, you just feel his masterpiece is just all around you. So if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, and if you're new here, please be sure to subscribe, especially if you are interested in getting more videos like this, just breaking down how practical and attainable it is to travel and see the world. So in my next video, I'll be sharing even more about my trip to Bali, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Bye.